First, live, local. This is First Alert Weather Extra.
Hey, welcome to First Alert Weather Extra. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mark Nelsen here at KPTV. We have an expanded weather segment, we like to call it, which runs for quite a while. It's kind of a nice long weather segment. We call it First Alert Weather Extra most weekdays at 7 p.m. Welcome, Payton. How are you?
Hello. Doing good. How are you, Mark?
We've been working hard making some graphics for you, so we've got lots of weather to, well, I mean, let's be honest. We can be honest on our streaming show here. The weather's kind of slow, so we found lots of interesting things to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll get back to Payton in just a minute. I'm going to cover kind of the nuts and bolts here, what we have coming up over the next few days. And Payton's going to look at this warm December weather that is on the way as well. All right, so what do we have coming up for your First Alert Weather Extra this Tuesday evening? We know tomorrow's going to be dry. That is the only dry day of the next 7. Warm weather, we'll cover that. No mountain snow, Payton's got that covered. And then a little look beyond the 7-day. What are we seeing out there? First, wow, it's getting dark early. We're now at the darkest time of the year in the evenings. This is the view at Seaside. This is at 4 p.m. We're just starting our 4 p.m. show and the sun was about to set already. And then by 4:25, it was already gone. Right now, our sunset today actually was 4:28 p.m. The earliest is 4:27. I think starting either tomorrow or the next day. It's like that for about 8 or 9 days. And we're back to 4:28 p.m. And very exciting. By Christmas Eve, or the day before Christmas Eve, I guess it would be, we've gained 4 minutes of daylight in the evening. The bad part is just the way it works. We lose some daylight in the morning still until we get to right around New Year's. All right, so 7-day forecast, just a quick look. Big messages. There's a little bit of rain almost every day except for tomorrow. So actually one thing I guess I should point out for tomorrow, that's the only day where you're guaranteed dry weather if you want to put up Christmas lights. I put up maybe half of mine, 3/4. I'm debating whether to bother to putting up the rest or not. It's probably not going to happen tomorrow. The bike ride is more important, so we'll see. You know, it's good for it to be different each year. But yeah, tomorrow is the dry day, so that's the good news there. Then we've got light rain and cool for Thursday, and light rain and warmer coming up on Friday. So let's just jump into Thursday and Friday. There's a warm front coming in from this direction coming up on Thursday. So again, tomorrow's dry, just some thin high clouds. But then we wake up Thursday, it's already drippy, just light, very light rain. As it moves across the eastern portion of the state, this is a 7 a.m. Thursday, as it moves across that eastern portion of the state later Thursday, it's actually kind of snowy, kind of a wet, sloppy snow, but LeGrand, Baker City, over Meacham, I-84 could be an issue, although since it's midday, maybe not a big issue. Maybe Thursday night, things freeze up a little bit. Meanwhile, we just have scattered light rain Thursday afternoon. So it's one of those don't really need an umbrella sort of days on Thursday. Now Friday is interesting because a second wave of moisture comes in, seems to mainly impact the Cascades. It's what we call orographic flow, not orthographic, which would be your foot. Orographic means related to topography or mountains or hills. And you can see how the mountains, since it's coming in from the west-northwest like this, mountains are really scooping up most of the moisture. So it's quite a bit of rain. This is a very rainy day on Friday in the Cascades and the Coast Range too. But in the valleys, again, it's pretty light rain. That's 10 a.m. Friday. So that's the plan for Thursday and also Friday. So let's jump ahead then. I got to show you for this evening, in case you're headed out, things are fine. It was still pretty cloudy when the sun set, but it looks like we're done with the shower. So lots of wet days ahead, just the light rain coming and going. Turning warmer on Friday. Payton's going to cover this in more detail coming up, but we'll be turning maybe as much as 10 degrees above average at times through the middle of next week. And we've got mainly rain in the Cascades. Payton, again, we'll talk about that as well, which means I probably shouldn't have even shown you that graphic because she'll cover it in more detail. But I do want to cover the big picture here. Notice there's this weird amorphous blob of cloud cover to the west. And these arrows here represent the wind up at about 18,000 feet. We're in this pattern where we've got pretty strong high pressure out here. So the flow of air goes around like this. Anything that tries to move at us from the west, our usual stormy direction, it's moving through that high pressure, it's sinking and it's drawing air, and that's why storms don't survive moving through it. All right, but going around the edge of it, these little disturbances come down from the northwest, and one just came through last night and this morning. That's why I think I had like 0.1 of an inch, a tenth of an inch out of my house on the east side of the metro. Officially nothing at the airport, but there were some scattered light showers around. But this is a cool system headed down into the middle part of the Rockies. Go higher up in the atmosphere, and you can see, yeah, this is up at 18,000 feet there, and you can see the flow of air, jet stream would generally be up in here. It's actually technically higher up in the atmosphere, but the flow of air is blocking storms from running into us. So that's just lingering off the west coast. How does that change the next few days? It gets, let's say it gets squished down a little bit as we move through Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and that's why we have some rain Thursday, the system coming through on Friday that I showed you. But the main jet stream is still up to the north, we're on the warm side of the jet stream, and eventually we get a south wind, which is Thursday night into Friday morning, and that will warm us up a bit. All right, in fact, look at this. We get to Monday, so this is the 8th of December. We've gone through a whole week of December, and that high pressure is still kind of holding firm right in here, and that's keeping the main storminess up here. Any cool air is up to the northwest. There are hints that maybe, so this is 9 days out. Maybe the ridge of high pressure pushes a little bit more to the south. Could this finally bring us cooler and wet weather beyond our 7-day forecast? Maybe, but models keep pushing that back in time. All right, so that's the big picture of what's going on. We covered the forecast. One thing I didn't cover was tomorrow. We think it's thin, high clouds, areas of fog in the valleys. The rain should stay offshore, the scattered showers for tomorrow. And it looks like maybe we get more sunshine as the day goes on. All right, so forecast rain just out of Thursday. Well, in the morning, not much. Thursday afternoon, some more. By the time we get to Friday morning, 1/4 to 1/2 an inch maybe. Notice how much more there is in the Cascades. Of course, very little makes it east of the mountains. So your forecast. The forecast, sometimes we call these the zone forecast for the different zones around a region. Partly cloudy, a dry day at the coastline tomorrow. Temperatures right around 50. Boy, one feature of this setup most of the time the last week or so, very light wind. North wind 5 to 10 along the coast. Your usual stormy south winds are absent in this setup. In the valleys, fog to some sunshine. Fingers crossed that the fog does break up. I assume that it won't break up as quickly in the South Valley, so I went a little cooler there. 43 at Albany to about 48 here in Portland. In the Columbia River Gorge, very light wind. I don't see any strong easterlies coming out of the gorge. This is peak season, December and January, for the big east wind events. We don't see any of that coming up in this pattern over the next week. So fog, just a few patchy foggy spots right along the river. Anywhere above the river, on the bluffs above, higher up 1,000 feet or so. A lot of sunshine, thin high clouds tomorrow, mid-40s for highs. Mount Hood, mainly sunny, about 40 at Government Camp. And you see the snow level going up pretty high. And then we go east of the Cascades tomorrow, mainly sunny. Temperatures around 40 in southeast Oregon, maybe mid-40s in the warmer spots. And just to recap the 3-day forecast, 3 messages here. You got only one dry day. You've got gray and wet weather Thursday and Friday. Most likely, for most of us, less than a 1/2 inch of rain Thursday and Friday. Now, Payton, I've avoided saying too much. I don't want to steal your thunder.
That's okay.
For the warmer stuff and the rain coming up Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yes.
So it's all you. And don't forget about the Cascades. You got that in there, right?
Of course, I got that in there.
Okay.
And by the way, when we say it's warm, obviously it's not actually warm. We're not talking 80s or 70s.
We actually have a viewer that argues with us that says, let's say the average high is 48, and we say, oh, it's kind of a cool day when it's 47. And he'll say like, oh no, that's average, that's perfectly normal, it's not cool. Well, it is if you're standing outside waiting for a bus and it's breezy.
Yes, anything in the 40s, definitely jacket weather, at least for now, and we're adapting slowly. But it has been quite warm for even November, but now we're getting into the new month, and December is supposed to be one of the coldest. This is cool. So this is the Climate Prediction Center. If you've never heard of them, they basically look at long-term outlooks. They look at temperature, they look at precipitation. Sometimes they even give seasonal outlooks too that are really helpful, just overall trends. So saying over the next 6 to 10 days that most likely we're going to have above average temperatures. Now, normally it would be this lighter shade of orange that you're seeing here. No, we're in the deep dark stuff, so this just means it's going to be rather warm. Okay, so I want to show you anytime we see temperatures in the 50s, especially upper 50s in December, you may be wondering, is that a record? Is that a daily record? So we'll take a look here. You can take this full so the numbers are a little easier to read. This is the next Sunday, by the way. I'm going to go over Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Our forecast high in white, the record for the day in red. So 63 is the daily record for Sunday. We likely won't get there. 62 Monday, again, probably won't get there. And then Tuesday is just a couple degrees cooler. And so is that record, 60 degrees from 1987. So something we'll watch. Of course, we're several days out, but I don't think we're going to have a record-breaking warmth here. Warmest December day. Yeah, Mark, I edited this graphic just slightly. We're trying to get our old look to new look, and it's a process, guys. Okay, warmest December day. We've had days in the upper 60s before, which is pretty insane. 2023 got to 67 one December day, but then we've had really cool years like 2022. We had lots of snow and ice that year too. 55 was our warmest December day, so we'll see what we get to. Maybe it'll be upper 50s. By the way, it's the coldest month of the year. So at least for the Pacific Northwest, we got the shortest days, the lowest sun angle. We talked about that sunset getting to the earliest time, which is 4:27 in either tomorrow or the next few days. And it's typically coldest usually somewhere 4 to 6 weeks later. So we're talking January, mid-January around the Great Lakes. Now it's very chilly around the Great Lakes, so we're kind of doing the opposite this year. But that's when we see, you know, snow cover that delays warming from the sun and that cold Canadian air that's taking over most of the lower 48 besides us. Coldest winter temperature. What's funny is December is supposed to be our coldest month, but ever since, you know, this graphic ends a 2018-2019 winter, it's been in February or January or even November. So that's kind of funny. It's really hasn't, we've kind of dodged the really cold air in December, at least, you know, the coldest air of the winter. Okay, snow and ice forecasting. We always like to bring this up because you're going to hear Mark and I say probably more times than once, we don't see any lowland snow over the next week to 10 days because, again, it's too warm. So this is when, obviously, the time of year we're constantly looking in the future. I mean, we look in the future always, but this is something we always are checking for. Do we have enough cold air? Do we have enough moisture mixed with the cold air to maybe bring something interesting? So 7 to 10 days out, we're looking ahead. If you see something on your social media that says, hey, into December, there's going to be 6 inches of lowland snow in Portland, do not listen. Nobody knows what's going to happen in the end of December, specifically how much snow also. That's way too detailed. 5 to 7 days out, we're going to notice trends. So are we trending up or down? Is lowland snow likely? Is it going to be too warm? Is it going to be too dry? 3 to 5 days out, that's when we start to get a little more specific. Timing, intensity. Will it be all snow? Is it going to be an ice storm? What about sleet, or what elevation might that be at? 1 to 3 days out is when we finally get the nitty-gritty details. So again, if your weather app is saying snow or anything crazy more than even 5 days out, know that it's probably going to change. So 1 to 3 days out is when we finally get those specifics like snow amounts or ice amounts, the exact location, the timing, all that good stuff. Okay, that's my rant for the winter forecast. Let's go to Cascades. Not much to talk about here. I know if you have your ski pass, Mark's been crying every day. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay, yep. So looking at our Thursday forecast, something I want you to notice here is this general vicinity is the Cascades, okay? Normally we see, you know, some pinks and purples there. Pink is wintry mix and purple is just straight snow. I want you to take this full so you can see that, again, that general kind of vicinity of the Cascades. As I roll through, you're not going to see any purple. And that's just because it is way too warm up there. Now you're seeing plenty of it on the northeastern side of the state, which we've talked about. The Wallowas, the Blue Mountains, they're going to get some snow through Friday, but nothing really in the Cascades, at least in Oregon. This ends all the way through next Wednesday, not tomorrow, but Wednesday, December 10th. You can see some action up in the Washington Cascades, maybe less than an inch at the ski resorts, and then I'll go eastward so you can see the you know, significant. So we were talking about earlier with the Wallowas and the Blue Mountains. So it's just a super warm atmosphere, and that's exactly why our snow levels don't drop below 6,000 feet for the next 7 days in our Mount Hood forecast. Lots of rain, maybe a little wintry mix on Saturday, but other than that, 7-day snow forecast is less than an inch. I do want to talk about that cold air because, again, it's funny that the Great Lakes is getting all of it. But yeah, here's what we're tracking. Basically, Thursday highs, if you're missing the cold, maybe in the teens in areas like Chicago, Minneapolis, 20s in Omaha, all the way down to Louisville. 34 degrees. So it's just going to be real cold to our east, and we're pretty much dodging it. And there's the snow we're expecting, again, in those areas that typically hog all the snow, the Rockies and the Great Lakes. So that's all I have. Basically, it's too warm for Cascade snow through at least, now we're looking at mid-December. So hopefully the second half things turn around because we got to get those skiers up there, Mark.
Yeah, although maybe it's safer, less chance of me breaking a leg or an ankle if I just stay down here in the lowlands.
That's true.
Doctor would probably suggest I stay in the lowlands.
That's true, but where's the fun in that?
That was really good stuff, Peyton. I forgot about some of those graphics. You got them all updated. I got a few thoughts. One is the winter low happening in February. Yeah, that is interesting. That's what we've tended to see, and I think it's been general knowledge the last 5 years or so. It's like, wow, we keep getting like not much of anything in December. January's been pretty mild many years. And then suddenly we get the stuff in February. In many La Nina winters, it does tend to be a little weighted a little later in the winter.
Kind of like last winter.
Yeah. And I will say that when we get an El Nino winter, I don't think there's hardly any El Nino winters where there's any sort of cold weather action or snow in February. That's really rare. So those are the years where it's like, oh, kind of the fall, spring. One other thought. You had the graphic. Oh, the December high temperatures were low to mid-60s.
The warmest ones.
Almost always in December, that'll happen with either like a south wind event, whether it's a storm or just, gust of 40 or something. When we get a windstorm, like the big 1995 windstorm, I think the high was like 64. Dang. So everything perfectly mixes down during those windstorms. So that's how we don't get it from the east wind in the wintertime.
Yeah,
I have
like
one
they
more
do in the summer.
Oh, I love the graphic showing how in the Pacific Northwest that we're coldest in late December is our coldest month, whereas it's more like, February 1st in the Great Lakes?
Yeah, like mid-January to early February.
Because in theory, in a perfect world, I suppose, if the sun is weakest right around Christmas, right? In theory, it should warm up after that time as the sun gets stronger, but the delay is either due to snow on the ground back east, or in our case, the ground is just chilly and the upper atmosphere has to start to warm up as well.
Yeah, it's a slow process, just like it's a slow process to get cold sometimes.
We have far less of a delay here on the West Coast, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Although we pay for it later in the spring when the ocean is still chilly and it seems like it takes forever for mid to late spring to happen.
Yeah, it takes a while.
So that's my segue to the coast. Okay, here we go. Let's talk about the coast storm outlook. I think you know the answer. Do we have any storms coming up? No. Okay, because if that high pressure is sending most of the jet stream action up to the north, the energy is up north, we're just not getting strong wind. We're always looking for gusts of 50 or higher would be these warm colors. Wednesday, Thursday, is there anything? No. Sunday morning, a little breezy. I'm headed out to the coast for the Seaside Festival of Trees, so I'll be waking up out there Sunday morning, probably a little breezy. Maybe a little bit Monday afternoon, but still, that's only gusts 40 or so at the beaches, less inland. Maybe another try on Tuesday night or Wednesday morning. It's all really weak stuff. We don't see any big storms coming up. I haven't actually looked at this graphic because I assume there's not much happening wave height-wise. Yeah, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're not even getting up to the 20-foot swell. So relatively low swell through the weekend, except we do have king tides starting Thursday morning and then again, midday Thursday, midday Friday, midday Saturday, like late morning or midday, highest tides of the month, the king tides. It'll happen again right around January 1st, 2nd, 3rd. But yeah, big storminess staying way out there to the west. All right, let's wrap this up. We've got lowland snow coming up in the next 12 days. Nope, I don't think so. Nothing below 2,000 feet. There are hints in some of our long-range models that, this would be like the following weekend, so the 12th or 13th. Some models trying to push colder air into here. Most are not, though. So that's why we're not going with it. Arctic blast, I don't see that between now and December 12th. And windstorm, unlikely. I say that because we're watching next week. Could something spin up with a jet stream a little closer next Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday? Maybe, but we don't see it yet. And final thought here, flooding, no. The amount of rain between like now and Monday is like maybe an inch and a half, maybe another half inch or inch. Next Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it just isn't a setup for a whole bunch of flooding. But in this pattern, something could show up if atmospheric river sits right over us.
Yeah. I want to talk about the king tides real quick.
Go.
Because we may see some coastal flooding with the king tides. This is basically the highest tides of the year. So if you are driving even on, Highway 101? 101, you may see some random flooded roadways. So just be really careful over the next few days, Thursday through Saturday. And if you're wondering the specific times, it's just the time of the highest tide, but we have it on our website too, on our weather summary blog. I don't know what you call it.
KPTV.com/weather.
Yes.
Is that what you mean?
That one, yeah.
Or if you have our app, that works well too.
Yeah, on the app, that works fine. And we have the full cold moon that peaks Thursday.
Yeah.
I think,
what's happening Thursday and Friday cloud cover wise, it's solid the whole time.
Solid.
You may not see it.
I think your best bet might be tomorrow. So
it won't be as dark at night, basically.
Yeah. And that's what causes the king tides. But yeah, you can look. We actually did a whole First Alert Weather Extra on that too. So.
Yeah, good stuff. Okay, so that wraps it up our next show, we'll be back here tomorrow night at 7 p.m. for First Alert Weather Extra. I believe tomorrow night we have an interview, right?
We sure do. It's all about preparing for winter. It's time, guys. So got an emergency manager from Multnomah County.
Oh, that'll be interesting. Something totally different.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have a fresh podcast coming up on Thursday night. So that's exciting as well. Next show right here on your Fox 12 streaming app is coming up in just about 40 minutes, the 8 o'clock news. Payton will be on that one. I'm going to go eat dinner, so we'll see you later.